Hey, liberal fruitcakes. Supreme Court, the military, and Trump. Let's talk about it. I like the ruling that came out of the Supreme Court today. Now, I can already tell you guys are probably frantically typing away, saying all sorts of mean things, and frankly, I don't care. Now, for those who don't know, the Supreme Court made a ruling that allowed Trump to decide, and the President of the United States to decide, what can disqualify you from serving in the U.S. military. Now, the ruling stated that he can continue to move forward with his plans. But what many of you are forgetting, and this is an important thing on why the Supreme Court ruling was important, that he can move forward with his plans regarding the U.S. military and who can serve in the U.S. military, while litigation happens in the lower court. Now, this is super important. Why? Because the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military, not be stonewalled by a district judge placing a national injunction on a policy involving the U.S. military, of which he is the Commander-in-Chief. This is why they're allowing the litigation to move forward, while also stopping the lower court from intervening in the way that they did. Why? Because there's a very real possibility here in the next 6 to 8 months, the Supreme Court will probably rule in favor of the Trump administration and the President of the United States in the matters of district judge intervening in executive policies. Why? Because there were 677 district judges in the United States, none of which were voted to be the President of the United States in a federal election. Do you know who was? Trump. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You want to talk about checks and balances and unconstitutionality? Scope of practice. District judges do not or should not be allowed to make national injunctions. That's why I think the Supreme Court's ruling today is a reflection of that. This allows the judicial system to slowly work its way up to the Supreme Court without placing national injunctions at a lower court level, because it's beyond their scope of practice. They can do that on behalf of their state. Great, that's awesome, but nothing beyond that. In addition, I think this ruling is important because it's setting up the framework in order to be able to return the military back to what it is intended to do, to impose peace through strength. And the important thing regarding peace through strength is, can everybody pull their own weight? How do you do this? By standardizing requirements in order to be able to enlist in the military. By not having any sort of different standards, but being unified in the standards required in order to be able to serve in the military. Meaning we will not lower the standards of the U.S. military in order to meet the needs or desires of other people who do not meet those standards to be able to serve in the military. Why? Strength. And what does strength lead to? Peace. So I'm quite happy with today. Have a good day!